I'm Sara.
I'm Dario.
And each episode will visit a new destination,
Bring you tips, share itineraries,
and tell you our wildest stories.
as we travel while POC.
You know what time it is, baby? You might not know, actually. Episode 1.
Let's go!
You don't know what time it is.
Let's
but
go.
you're going to learn today.
You gonna learn.
Okay?
Hey.
Welcome. I'm Sara.
Dario.
And we are your hosts
Yeah.
while you travel with us while we travel and while POC.
Right. Right. You could be whatever you want to be.
You could be...
But we POC.
Yeah, correct. So this is, you'll see 2 episodes drop today.
Yeah. Yeah, this is
first
part 1.
episode, part 1, is more of get to know us, why we're doing this, intro to travel.
Yeah.
That's the itinerary for today's episode.
Especially, shout out to the people listening from 77 Flavors of Chicago.
Yeah.
We got your back. We here.
Yeah, buddy. So if you don't know us, this is the first time you're checking this. Somehow it landed on your page while you're looking for a new podcast. Dario and I actually, this is our second podcast. We run a history and food all-encompassing Chicago podcast called 77 Flavors of Chicago. We've done that for almost 3 years now.
It's been a fun 3 years.
It has been.
We still going though, so
Yeah.
this is out here.
And while we were doing that, we traveled a ton, and so we wanted to kind of talk about our travel. And just like our podcast for 77 Flavors of Chicago, we both have entirely different experiences of Chicago.
Yeah.
We also have entirely different experiences of travel.
Yeah, this one is kind of like
The opposite.
the opposite. Now I'm the
Newbie.
the newbie. Yeah, yeah, I'm the newbie.
Yeah.
I'm with it.
And so just to give you a little bit of a background, so I personally, the first time I was on a plane, I was probably under 2 months old.
Damn, you was just flying. Well,
My mom had no frame of reference of like, you got to keep the baby inside for the first 30 days.
I mean, look,
I get that.
You turned out great.
Yeah. Depends who you ask.
That's me. Shit. I like it. I like her.
so.
Yeah.
But yes, so I don't even remember when the first time I traveled. I was so young. So I was super privileged my whole life.
Yeah.
Both my parents loved to travel. And so, my dad would work most of the year. He would travel for work a ton. So the summers he would take time off and we would usually do a family trip.
What is the first trip that you do remember?
Probably visiting Syria or Lebanon.
Okay.
Syria, I grew up in Jordan, for those that don't know me. And
Born in Jordan.
Born and raised in Jordan till I was 18 and I moved to the States. But my mom went to school in Damascus in Syria. And so she lived there for 10 years. She was a dentist. And so she is a dentist. And we would go often. My uncle went to college there. I would visit him on campus and I would stay with him when I was super young. But that's probably the first thing we would road trip to Lebanon. It's only like a few hour drive. So.
Okay. That's dope.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've traveled all over Europe, parts of East Asia, definitely all over the Middle East. And yeah.
My first time traveling, first time on the plane, I was the ripe age of 26.
Just a little baby.
Just a little baby, just a little lad.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all. Before that, I traveled to Orland Park.
27-year-old teenager. Traveled to Orland Park. If you're listening and you're not from the Chicagoland area, Orland Park is just an hour from Chicago.
So that was
by car.
But you know what? We did drive down to Florida when I was 14.
Yeah.
When I was 14. So that was how I got to my first plane ride, y'all. So I worked at Best Buy. What if I can say that?
Yeah.
I worked at Best Buy, and we had won this company trip for the whole store. It was a competition throughout the store. We won it coming out of the holidays, and when I was in the Bolingbrook location. And the first, no. I'm wrong. I'm telling you, I'm wrong. My first trip I won coming out of the holidays. I was the number 3 home theater supervisor in the company, and so they flew out. I think they flew out like the top ones or something like that, or everybody went, but like there was some part. Anyway, my first trip was to Hollywood on the plane at the age of 26. That was my first time getting on the plane. I didn't even book the tickets there. It was corporate. So I just put in my information. They were like, here's your ticket. So that was my first experience getting on the plane, going to, I was like shook.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually a great segue because we're going to talk about kind of like how to start traveling if you've never traveled before.
Yeah.
And mostly we'll definitely focus on like regional, national, but we want to talk more about international travel because that was like almost brand new to you a couple of years ago.
Almost.
Right?
That was, I mean, if you count the Bahamas, I did go to the Bahamas.
You had to get a passport.
We'll talk, right.
Yeah.
Look, yeah.
So our first part is if you live in the U.S. and here's the privileged thought process that I had. I thought you were like born with a passport.
Man,
I didn't know you had to like apply for a passport.
Yeah.
And so when I moved here and a lot of people didn't have passports, I was actually really confused. I was like, what do you mean? You know,
and I thought,
how do you travel? And they're like, we don't. I was like, oh.
Well, I ain't even think. Look,
so it is a privilege to be able to travel.
I thought it was so privileged. I thought rich people only had passports.
Yeah.
When I got my first passport.
What was the process for you to get your first passport?
For me, it wasn't too. It wasn't.
Do you remember what the process is?
I vaguely remember. So I remember going to Walmart. I got my picture taken at Walmart. Walgreens. Went to Walgreens. Is it green or greens?
Greens.
Walgreens.
Walgreens. When have you ever heard anyone say Walgreen?
I mean, just now.
That's wrong. It's Walgreens.
It's Walgreens. Okay. Well, I went there, and so I got the picture, and then because I was out in the burbs for a little bit, and so when I went and got the passport, I had to fill out the application, and I went to some post office. There's a post office out there in the burbs. And they took me in the back, fill out the application, and asked me questions and shit like that. I was just back there, didn't know what was going on. All I know is, if I remember correctly, at that time, that shit was like $300, almost $400.
One is expensive.
God damn.
So you can actually fill out that application online. You can go to the website travel.state.gov, and it's a pretty easy process in terms of like how to do it. The first thing is fill out the application. They tell you what your picture needs to look like. I remember when I had to like renew my passport. Your ears had to be showing. You couldn't wear earrings. You can't smile. A white background. I don't know if
I had a bald head. I ain't had a bald head.
I'm sure those rules don't apply anymore. People like.
No, I think they do.
But like, you don't have to show your ears, I don't think, or anything like that, because people obviously like times evolved and people wear headscarves, and you don't have to.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Some
so,
people
like,
got
some rules have changed over the last few years.
That's a good ass point.
Yeah,
I didn't even think about the scarves and on the head and everything, religious reasons.
Yeah.
And that's a good point.
But yeah, so you can easily go to that website, fill out the application. It is not. I would say it's probably like $300 to renew your passport. It's well over $100.
Yeah.
So to get a brand new one,
that's not bad.
To renew it.
I mean, that upfront cost ain't that bad. Considering.
But remember when we renewed our passport and we expedited it, it was like $400 for two people.
Yeah, that was.
It's pretty. If you have a family,
and we had to
it's
sit.
not cheap.
Damn. Yeah, that was.
And then you take all your stuff.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. And then you take all your stuff and you go to the post office. Most post offices will have a sign even on the door that says "Apply for a U.S. passport." Or like.
Man, look, I thought I was gonna get my. So I was disappointed.
Why?
We'll talk about.
You thought it was gonna come to you that same day?
No. When I thought my first time on the plane, I thought I was gonna get a passport then, and I didn't know the process at all. So I was I was excited to get a passport then.
You mean like traveling to like LA or wherever you went?
Because I didn't know. It was my first time on the plane, so I didn't know what to expect. I was like, yo, about to get a passport. I was asking people, do I get a passport for this? Do I need to get my passport? They was like, no, you going to California. And I was like,
That's another one is like if you travel within the US, you just need an ID.
Yeah.
Or a driver's license.
No, my first trip on the plane I was down bad.
Were you?
I was down bad.
Okay, tell us, because I don't remember my first trip. So
I remember mine.
I want to hear yours.
Look, so get on the plane. First of all, I was a horrible, like, maybe condensed. I brought one suitcase, and it was a...
Was it a checked bag? You checked one suitcase?
Yes, I checked the carry-on.
Wow.
I checked that carry-on, y'all. It was crazy. So I checked the carry-on because I didn't know, because I was like, I don't want my hands to be, I want to sit on the plane. I don't want nothing to be, I don't like holding shit.
Yeah.
So I had the same energy 14 years ago.
That's wild.
And that's crazy to say, first of all. I had that same energy then. So I sitting down on the plane, and I remember getting on the plane. It was taking off. All they were saying, chew some gum. So I bought me a pack of gum.
So your ears.
I'm sitting there, and they were like, man, you gonna fall asleep on the plane. I was like, man, we got up in the air. I ain't fall asleep on no plane. My ass was looking like this shit better stay in the air. I promise you, promise you that. But then there was this one lady sitting next to me. I had a window seat and everything. I was cool, right? I was chilling. Once we was in the air,
yeah,
cool. It was this lady next to me who, I don't know if this was her first time on the plane. I think she said this is her first time flying alone, maybe. I can't remember. All I know, she was scared.
Oh, no.
And I'm sitting there like, you can't be scared and I can't be scared too. Like at the same time. And then I turned into the goddamn counselor.
You know what's funny when you say that is that often I feel like if I'm panicking and someone around me starts to panic, I stop panicking.
Right.
Because I'm like, we can't both be panicking.
We can't, right.
We're going to be down bad.
Right. So that's what I did. Y'all, I'm going to cut the shit short. But like, so we get off the plane. We doing that thing. Tell me why I'm in Hollywood. I'm going through, like, I'm in Hollywood. Like, I'm seeing the signs, the stars on the ground. I had to pee. I still had my jacket on and everything. I had my bags and we went to the hotel where we were at the Highlands, I think it was called. The Highlands Hotel. I don't know if it's still there or not. But I go there and I'm in the bathroom, wash my hands. You know what I'm saying? Wash my hands. Next thing you know, this motherfucker with a lion body paint walk in. I was like, okay, all right. All right. So I'm there. Next thing you know, another dude walk in with some other paint on and furry feet. Furry feet.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there, I'm like, this shit crazy. I'm like, I'm in Hollywood, I'm washing my hands, I'm looking at what's going on. This is what they say about Hollywood. Y'all, I walked out and I'm in the middle of a goddamn movie premiere.
No.
I'm in the middle of, and you know what movie it was, y'all?
What?
It was 10,000 BC.
Wow.
Bro, when I tell you, so this is my first time getting on the plane. I thought it was a regular bathroom like anybody go. I walk out, because when I walked in, it was a lot of action.
Funny.
It was a lot of commotion and shit. And I didn't know. I was like, it's a lot of things going on, but I gotta pee. So I had my bag, I wheeled it. Nobody stopped me.
Wow. Nobody
stopped me. I come out. I'm looking around. It's people dancing. The people that was in the first, they all dancing and celebrating. And then I see. I don't know who these stars were. I can't tell you. Whoever was in 10,000 BC, they was there.
Wow.
Red carpet all. I'm looking down. I'm at I think it's the Man's Chinese Theater right there. I'm looking down at like the little vestibule because if you go there, it's a little circle.
It's like A-list celebrities taking pictures.
I'm looking down in there, people, paparazzi and shit. I'm like, oh.
Wow.
And so I'm like, I don't know what's going on. Then I saw the big 10,000 BC sign. I was like, bro, that was my first time on the plane. People was asking, where you at? I was like, bro.
I can't even
I don't even know where I'm at, man.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That shit, wow.
You also were, the first time you were on a long haul flight was just a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember my first long haul flight. It was actually to Chicago. And it was a 12-hour flight from Jordan, direct flight to Chicago. And I was a child.
Yeah.
I was maybe
restless.
9.
Damn.
I listened. So you know the band Blue?
No, I don't know.
Remember I played you some of their
songs?
You did play. British
band. Yeah, they sound similar to something else,
so
right? Yeah.
Their Best of Blue album or the cassette tape, not album.
Yeah.
cassette tape came out that year.
You ain't even that old.
No, I am. My brother also had the cassette tape of Eminem's album that had just come out where he had gotten divorced. Yeah. So both of those albums had come out. We only had one cassette each and a Walkman.
Damn.
And we played the same album for 12 hours.
Same. So you knew the words.
So mind you, at that time there were no TVs in planes.
Also, you couldn't even do nothing. You ain't no iPads.
No,
ain't none of that shit
existed. No iPhones, like no smartphones. We had coloring books. I had books to read, and we had Walkmans, and that was it for 12 hours.
Lord.
Now imagine my mom as a parent.
Yeah.
Imagine how bored she was. Because like if you put me in a plane right now for 12 hours and I have no form of entertainment, I'm having a panic attack. Like, get me off this plane.
You be sleeping though, let's be fair.
No, but not the whole 12 hours.
You be knocked out a good 8.
That's false.
Oh, I'd have been there.
Well, because our flight is over, like if you leave from Chicago to Jordan, it's an overnight flight. It's usually Friday at 9 p.m.
Yeah.
And so you just fall asleep after a couple hours. You wake up, it's breakfast time, and
I can't wait to talk about Jordan.
I know.
Yeah.
Which we will. It's an upcoming episode. But long haul flights are not for the faint of heart. We will get into them when we talk about long haul flights on upcoming episodes.
Next one.
And this next one is Rome.
Yeah.
That was a
8-hour
flight. Yep. So we'll talk about what we packed for that flight and all that kind of good stuff on that one. So this is the only episode of its kind, right?
Yeah,
We're not going to release any more of these. Next will be like itinerary. And
right. That's why we're doing the double drop for your ass.
Yeah. For your ass.
I'm sorry if you live in another country.
But to talk about how we're going to pick these destinations. So obviously we've visited a ton. So we've collected content over the last 3 years of places that we've visited. So it's places that we've already picked. A lot of the times it's Dario going down a rabbit hole of history and history that he like watches a ton of documentary, reads a ton of information about, and then we decide to visit that place.
Yeah.
And so you'll see some of that, and that's how we usually plan where we're going.
Yeah.
And we start planning a few months in advance because I am a planner and I love putting together itineraries.
Your itineraries be lit.
And I go over and over and over, and I just keep doing research until I get like the best of what we're going to do to maximize our time.
Yeah.
It's literally planned down to the 30-minute.
Yeah, that's good though. I mean, we be y'all,
but don't fret because there is free time on my itinerary.
Yeah, right, and that's what I'm about to say. Like y'all, the plan is so dope where like you do be moving around a lot. You get a lot accomplished, but like you have that time.
Yeah, I do have downtime.
We done set some everywhere, all over the country, the world,
Yeah, exactly.
And just chill.
Yeah, so expect a lot of that. There's we'll obviously break down the itineraries for each destination that we hit on these coming episodes, and we'll talk about like in detail the places that we visited,
some recommendations,
stuff like that. But before we
Lululemon.
Before we board the plane for our next destination.
Sorry.
Before we board this motherfucking plane, let's talk about how to act in a foreign country.
Yeah, that's crucial. That's crucial.
Because we're going to talk about that in every one of the episodes because every experience was super different.
Super different.
But one thing I will tell you that we go in is you are a guest.
That's a fact.
You are a guest. And only a guest.
No matter where you're from. I don't care if you're from outside the United States going to another country. The same rules apply anywhere. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, and that was honestly, we'll get into it in different episodes like we keep on saying. Sorry about that. But that was probably one of the biggest things that I learned first time. Biggest lesson is like, I was like, yo, I'm in a different country. Yeah. And not to the point where it was like, what? No, it was like, because I tell you all the time, I like not knowing what the language is. That forced me to be smarter.
To embrace it.
Right. Yeah, that forced me to get in.
Yeah, I think my favorite places to visit are places where I don't speak the language and I don't know anyone. I love that because then you really like pushing yourself to that level of discomfort where one, you're going to learn a lot about yourself.
Yes,
and it's obviously you always have to be safe. I'm not saying don't be safe.
Right. That goes without saying. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you're walking around here just unsafe, that's your fault.
But I think it's very important to put yourself in that slight discomfort because it's the only way to learn about other people. And I personally think that if you are able to travel, and yes, it is a privilege, but even if you're able to travel to the states next to you or places around you, you're going to learn so much about people from in terms of like their culture and how they do things. Maybe you'll learn a new way of doing things or stuff like that it's going to change your opinion no matter where it is you're going.
That's a good ass point. We didn't have this as a topic of conversation, but I do want to say the reason why I like to travel is I just want an open mindset. You know what I mean? I talk a lot of shit here in Chicago. I talk crazy sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, and not crazy in the sense of, violence or anything, but like we play games, I'm talking reckless, and I don't know certain people think the way people act and the way they move here. I want to see how that is outside now, and like that give me perspective. I always tell you, this, and now y'all know. But Jay-Z had this one line, how he's so good at rap, right? He said, and I'm paraphrasing the hell out of it. If you know it, you send it to me or whatever. But basically, he said he liked to travel because it gives him new words and new ways to say things.
Yeah.
So not only is he expanding his mindset, but he actually learning bigger words.
Right.
And I learned that from Jay-Z. Soon, the moment he said that,
Yeah.
I was like, I want to travel.
Yeah.
And I want to know that. And so that's kind of been like my motivation. Anytime I go somewhere is like, I just want to know what words I know now.
Yeah.
Because granted, I've learned several words in several countries now. You know what I mean? Like, and so now it feels good to be able to, I can't speak the language fluently and nothing like that. I'm probably closest to Arabic holding the conversation to a slight degree. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, that's why I like doing it. So that's
and I think it's also like super important that as people of color, we're often like told not to visit certain places,
right?
And like there's some fear behind visiting certain places. That's why I say it's very important to be safe.
Yes.
And I'm not going to say that you shouldn't be safe, but I think you should also I think there's a way to travel and experience the world and experience the life without having like leading by fear. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. I wasn't gonna bring this coin out, but I was gonna leave that on 77. I just think
like I don't want us to miss opportunity, and I don't want us to miss experiences in life. And if you have the ability, why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
You preaching.
And there are precautions that we're going to give you. Obviously,
yes.
This is from the perspective of two minorities that have traveled the world, and like we'll share all these experiences that we've faced. We're not the standard,
right,
but it is our experience,
yep.
And hopefully it'll give you some guidance of how to exist in these spaces.
Because there's we debunk some stuff, some things. Granted,
Yeah.
and I guess we've been in each country for at least a week and a half.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we got a little bit of experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I will say, right off the top, the places we've been as a black man, I've been good. You know what I mean? Like, never once did I have a fear of anything. So we've been some places, you know what I'm saying? And I haven't had that fear.
Yeah.
I haven't had that fear where I could have been like, I'm an outlander. I haven't had that. So, and you'll see, we don't just go and do this touristy shit, y'all.
Yeah.
We be out in the streets.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about what we doing. Probably a differentiator.
It's a mix of both, I think.
Yeah, a mix of both. Yeah,
a mix
for sure.
of both.
For sure.
There's going to be a lot of touristy things, obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole point of traveling is to like see those cool things.
Yes.
But there's also a lot of.
I'm talking about we be walking around neighborhoods.
Yes.
And we walk around neighborhoods, camera out. You know what I'm saying? Like, so
So we're excited that you're here. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes.
And this next episode that you can listen to immediately after this one
Yeah.
is our stop in Rome.
Yeah.
And
that's it. So
that's all.
That's it. So y'all lock in for this next one. Y'all can just go ahead and press play. Keep this going. Ride this music out. We don't know how to close out yet. If you listen to 77 Flavors, we normally close out reckless.
Right. But I'm not trying to be reckless on this one.
Not on the Worldly podcast.
Not on the Worldly podcast.
Not on the Worldly one. But this was fun.
This was
fun.
Yeah.
New venture.
See you in Rome.
We're going on a trip.
No. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider rating and leaving a review.
And if you could, please follow us on all social medias at Traveling Wild POC.
And if you'd like to suggest a destination, we can't promise that we'll go, but you can email us at media@77, that's the number 77, flavorsshy, CHI for Chicago.com.
And we can tell you one thing, we will be going next week. So get ready for takeoff. Another dope episode. We'll see you then. Peace.